Hello, welcome to another tonalist landscape oil painting demonstration. This is your painter in residence. I'm Francis McCarthy, and the painting I am bringing you today is called, I'm calling Edge of the Wood. I think it had a slightly different title when I put it up live back in June. The live version is still around, still available. It's in the members area. um, for those of you that might be interested. But I'm getting ready to pop it in my store, and I like to, on my website, landscapepainter.co.nz. So if you were kind of fond of this painting, tip on over. It'll have a pretty excellent price, I imagine. This is an 11 by 14, and the real point of it was kind of just do studying greens. And it's hanging out in my studio right now. A lot of people really like it, really comment on it. It's one of these paintings that's not, it's not got like this standout sort of vista or anything. It's just a very intimate scene, and mostly it's about patterns of light and shade, and the color green, of course. Yes. Anyway, what is today? Today is October 7th, and here in New Zealand it is nice and sunny, and we have spring springing, and the birds are singing. Wow, I better write that down. I could use that in a song. um, let's get into some tips. You want some tips? Well, first tip, I want to talk about what to do when you're low on energy and you don't really feel like working, and you feel like maybe just picking up that remote and turning on the TV. Don't do it. You may be low on energy, but that doesn't mean you have to go after a major painting. And I think I had a bit of a bug yesterday. I went into the studio and I was just thinking, oh man, maybe I'll just go home. I don't feel, I didn't feel that bad, but I didn't feel like my normal self, that's for sure. And but what I did was I just found a smaller board, and I decided to go after a pictorialist photo. Did a little study after that. Now the thing about the pictorialist photos are they already kind of designed to look like paintings, so it was a bit pre-digested, and I thought, I'll just get this up and do some work on it. I did have a much larger painting that I've been sort of chomping at the bit to. I've got the drawing done, and I want to start getting into color. And that was a major amount of simplification and design involved in that. So, um, but I didn't. I knew I didn't have enough wherewithal to jump into that and do good work. And I didn't want to do bad work on top of the good work that was there. So, rather than going home and zoning out in front of YouTube until dinner time or whatever, or like I say, grabbing the remote, popping on old Netflix or whatever, I decided to do a painting. And as it turns out, it was good I stayed in the studio because someone came by and they want to get some lessons and things. And the great thing about that is it helps me pay for my studio, and I love teaching. If you have been with me any time at all, that's one of the reasons I do this channel. So it's a bit of a oblique lesson, a bit of an oblique tip, but I think really critical, because if you don't work a lot, you will not get good. I don't care how great your desire is. I don't really even care how talented you are. I don't really care how much um, your friends like your work. At the end of the day, if you want to get to the level of the artists that you admire, you simply must work, and you really need to work just about every day. Now, I myself do painting every day except Sunday, and I stick to that. And that's another point I've touched on many times, and this ties into that as well. There is no greater force in this universe than the force of momentum. Once you have momentum, you really want to work hard to keep it. If you lose momentum, think of a rocket. A rocket is carrying, thousands and thousands of tons of fuel. And most of that fuel is being expended to just get up off the surface of the earth, right? Not to, once it's up off the surface of the earth and it's moving in a direction, it's using the remainder of its fuel to maintain its trajectory, right? But most of that fuel is being used to just get up and get moving. And we are no different than rockets, my friend. No different at all. So you may be feeling lazy, and it's okay to have days off. It's okay to have vacations. But what really is best is to have a regular practice and not to deviate from it. And if you're feeling a little under the weather or a little out of it, the best thing to do is just to do something minor. In fact, I wasn't feeling good the day before either, and that day I did a little 5x7 study of a woods scene that I've painted very small before, and it actually had a lot of challenges, but it was a 5x7. I started it, and well, I'll say I finished it, but I need to get it back up on the easel at some point. But I got it into some kind of shape, and I have something to show for my day, even though I wasn't, again, at the top of my game. I wasn't, you know, really in a framework to do something major, to create any kind of masterpiece. But I did have the ability to do some work, and I did the work, and I feel, not only do I feel good about it, but I also have a painting, and the painting, it needs some more work. It's not all there, but I have something to show for that time, and that's, I think, really important. I think that's one of the reasons that we do art, is to have something to show for our time. And there is no greater feeling. I don't think there's any greater feeling than the feeling of satisfaction you get from creating something that you think looks good, you know, whether it's music or art or your garden, And I'm not saying maybe you can work in your garden as well, but if you have a painting practice, you need to practice. And the other thing I kind of wanted to talk about today was I do hear from people that come into my studio that they like to paint, but they say, I can't draw. And to that, I very quickly would say that is nonsense. Of course you can draw. Everybody can draw. You know, the ones that draw better than the ones that don't, they just drew more, and they got maybe a little more positive reinforcement from their parents or teachers or friends, and because they had a positive, or maybe they did, they were lucky, they sat down, did a drawing, and it looked pretty good, and everyone's like, wow, you're so talented, it's so awesome, and they go, yeah, well, maybe I'll do another one, and then everyone goes, oh, that's so great, wow, we didn't know you were so great, you're so awesome, and you go, oh my gosh, I got to do more of this is really paying me dividends. Well, maybe you're the person that did a drawing and it didn't turn out so well, or maybe you did a drawing and it turned out well, and you tried to get some feedback on it, and there was no feedback, and so you just thought, well, I guess I'm not very good. Um, Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something, Sonny. Drawing, it's the same thing as measuring. Okay, you basically are transferring an image either from a two-dimensional reference or from a three-dimensional reality onto your two-dimensional surface, or in the case of sculpture, your three-dimensional sculpture, right? Proportion, measurement. These things have to be learned. This is a skill that has to be learned, but it is innate in you as a human being to be able to draw, and you can draw well. Pardon me. Well, you say it's easy for you to talk, Mike. You were a professional illustrator and blah, blah, blah. You got a lifetime of doing art. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I know. It sounds like I'm just going wonk, 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 wonk. Kind of like the adults in Peanuts, right? You know. Uh, Actually, that reference may be dating me because Peanuts hasn't been around for a while. But you know Charlie Brown, right? Snoopy. Um, yeah, wonk, wonk, wonk. Well, let me tell you a bit of my drawing story, okay? I was always, doing some drawing, and I thought it was, okay, pretty good. I didn't get tons of positive feedback. Um, in fact, I had a neighbor boy that was a good friend of mine. I considered to be a better artist than me, and I actually sort of commissioned him to do a drawing of a superhero I really thought was cool. Um, he wasn't really a better drawer than me, and I think he took a crack at it or whatever. But my story is this: at about the age of 13, I come from America. Many of you do or don't, but in the American culture, at least when I was a kid, it was really common to kind of boot the kids out, And I knew it was coming. I knew that I would have to support myself in the world, even at a young age. I became increasingly cognizant of this fact, and I'm the kind of person that likes to think ahead, plan ahead, and I started thinking, well, what would be a good career for me? And I thought about the alternatives, and what occurred to me is that one of the best sorts of things for me to do would be to be an artist with my temperament. And granted, that's a bit insightful for a young person, but it was from that point forward that I just started diligently applying myself to learning how to draw. And it was, yeah, I had a few books. One of the best ones I thought was How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way, because it was just a great all-around primer on learning how to draw. Um, I was really into comic books. I was really into like the covers of science fiction books and magazines and things like heavy metal. And a lot of times, what I would do is just get I had big pad of copier paper, and I would just sit there and copy things. And I wouldn't only copy things; I'd do my own drawings as well. And then, as I progressed, I would start doing like drawings from photos. You know, I did some drawing from real life, but that wasn't that interesting to me when I was a kid. You know. Um, but I developed quite a lot of skill, and by the age of 16, 17, I was, able to draw really well. I would say, not perfect, and you're never going to draw perfect. The only people that can really draw that at that level are people that get training at a very young age, which hopefully is starting to happen. A lot of the masters, the old masters that we admire so much, they were apprenticed to other masters at a very young age, and they were seeped in the life of the artist and in drawing. And one of the things that the master would have you do is they would give you a cast of a bit of Roman sculpture or whatever, and you would be required to draw that very accurately. And that forcing the young person to get their eye and their hand synced up, that is the key to drawing well. And you can do it. Everyone can do it. Okay? And you need to do it if you want to be a good painter. There's no substitute for this at all. Drawing has got to be a big part of what you do. Maybe all your drawings are on the board or the canvas and you do a painting over the top, but like you saw me do a drawing, you've seen every video that I put on this channel starts with some sort of drawing. We call it an underpainting, but my mentality, my mindset is that I'm drawing, I'm measuring, I'm trying to get the image together, I'm making changes, I'm adjusting, I'm correcting, and in my case, because I'm self-taught, so much of my drawing practice and process is just correcting, which is fine. That's called a style. Anyway, just thought I'd. That's kind of a long-winded tip, but probably something you needed to hear. So if your teacher hasn't told you that, get. We got one tiny bit of time left here. Just draw something every day. Get a ream of copier paper. Make copies after little quick drawings. Don't spend a lot of time trying to draw masterpieces that you're going to get positive feedback for. Just get the experience. Get your eye and your hands synced up, and watch yourself and your work really, really, really improve. Anyway, that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for joining me. Tip on over to my website. I will have this in the store. Join the members area. This video is there live. You're getting all kinds of tips as I'm painting. It's so awesome. Be sure and like this video. Be sure and comment. Say, hey, thanks, Mike. We appreciate you, man. Anyway, till I come back with another video, take good care and stay out of trouble.